I'm about to close on a second location while still refining systems in the first location. How do you split time, team focus, and energy without burning out or stalling both practices? Okay, so great question. I would go back to kind of one of the main tenets inside DSI is if this person would have come to me and said, I have this great opportunity, but I'm still a white belt practice as far as my main practice or my flagship original practice, I would always say, the ideal way to structure the timing on acquisition or startup of practice number 2, 3, 4 would be definitely to get the flagship practice to black belt level status first, because then you have a practice upon which to duplicate. So if all the systems and all the processes are set in your flagship practice, it's really easy to take those set systems and duplicate those to number 2, 3, 4, 6, 10, 15 if you want. Obviously, this person may not be a DSI person, or they just decided to expand without tightening up the flagship practice, which I'm not going to beat you up for that. Let's just kind of take the opportunity of building up both practices simultaneously and see what we could do with that. But I still prefer having one practice that you can focus on, building the systems within that practice and transferring them to the next. In this particular situation, if you're working on 2, there's so many more questions that I would need to ask you to answer this question effectively. Like, what is the level, or how effective is your primary practice right now? What is the systemization in the acquisition practice right now? Are you sharing team members between both practices right now? How much time are you spending in each particular practice right now? Do you have one office manager that's working at both practices? There's so many follow-up questions that I would need to ask in order to answer this effectively. But I would say, if I was just to take this limited amount of information that I had to try to answer this question, I would say, try your very best to take that flagship practice and tighten it up as much as possible. Put all the systems and structures in place in that particular practice and make that a black belt level practice, and let the acquisition run as it was running. Obviously, don't let it deteriorate, but you can't necessarily take 2 practices and try to do things in 2 different locations and implement new kind of strategies and tactics in 2 different places at one time. It's very, very difficult to do. So if it was me, I would take the flagship practice, focus like a laser on that, because the stakes are high. Because if you don't do that quickly, then practice 2 is going to deteriorate pretty quick. But do your best to keep the systems going like they were when you acquired the practice. Focus on flagship practice, turn that into something very, very strong, black belt level, and then transfer all those systems over.